Ooh.
Ooh.
Time. It's not time. It's Tuesday, but it's a different time.
Yeah.
It is the special late edition, the Halloween show. So, shifted slightly tonight, mostly because I had to do my civic and parental duty to attend a strategic planning session for the school district.
Because Lucas has to go be a pain in someone else's ass now.
It was actually great. I only get that way once it's stupid, and they're doing a great job trying to make new and phenomenal plans. The only thing I said that would annoy some members of our typical audience, most of them in your generation, is that I suggested that the values, vision statement, whatever, inclusion statement didn't need to say that it would make students feel seen, blah, 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 blah. A whole bunch of synonyms for seen. I cautioned against saying seen because it's modern current slang, and they're writing a policy that's going to be around for 20 years. So let's not use fucking bullshit trendy terms that are hot right now with people saying, I feel seen. Yeah, you're not going to be saying that in 20 years. So let's not write that into a policy. But otherwise, I thought they were doing a great job putting it together, and it was a really nice workshop style meeting. What have you been doing with your time, David, since you filled a void tonight of a good 3 hours without me?
Mostly just still kind of being sitting here. Like you and I discussed it before we went on air. I'm still a little tweaked at Dune. I mean,
So David and we've basically been talking Dune all week. Like, I think. Yeah, all week. It hadn't been
it's been all week.
2 days of the week. I watched the original on Sunday night. I didn't really like it. In fact, I thought it was pretty bad. And I watched the new one last night. Went to the cinema to see it because it definitely warrants cinema viewing. And loved it. And then David's been over there for like 48 hours beforehand going, I'm so pissed they didn't finish the movie. And like it said part one, like on the front.
Again, if you go back to the original and it has the director's cut, then yeah, it is two parts because there's an intermission in between. So that's what I thought that they were doing at first. I'm like, and then I realized, wow, we're going kind of slow. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Well,
but I mean, like and I want to point out, Dune has been remade now twice. First, you have the first iteration, then you had the Sci-Fi Channel huge miniseries that they did, which I strongly recommend. Even though it gets panned so often, I highly recommend everyone watch it because it has its own take on it.
I don't trust sci-fi with anything. They make such shitty things most of the time. I mean, there's some stuff.
Most of the time. See, that's the thing. Most of the time, and I would agree with you. Most of the time, I'd be like, I wish we had a C category for movies, right?
Yeah,
this is pretty bad. We're below B, but I mean that one was pretty good. And I explained to him we're not going to talk about their remake of the miniseries was good. We're not going to talk about what they did to Children of Dune because that was a little bit of an abomination. But in one of it's just one of those things. To me, it feels like a contract when you pick up the material that you, as the producer of this material, have made an agreement that you're going to go sit in the desert for God knows how long and make this movie. I mean, because I feel like because picking up Dune is signaling three things to the world. Number one, I have more drugs than blood in my body, right?
I kept thinking the whole time with the '84 movie that I was.
Science needs to be aware that I should be technically dead and may actually be technically dead, but yet I'm making a movie. Number two, I need everyone to know that I have seen every dominatrix from Orlando to Bangor because I am that much of a masochist. I have right. I need at that point. If you pick up Dune, you have to have this explained. And number three, that everything I do from this point forward will be panned by every critic because
Oh,
I
yeah.
went off and did this.
My hair's doing crazy things tonight. You can ask David, I've been fucking with it for the past half hour. It's beyond any sense of organization. And then I look at the other side of the screen and it could be worse. You are just gray away from the full Doc Brown. I actually need to get with the smart ass gay-owned barbershop down the road that I love. I raved about them several weeks back. They have all sorts of funny shit on their website, and their brand personality seems like it would match. I can sit there and curse with them and talk about dumb shit. But anyway, so here we are, late night, messy hair and all, and we have a special beer flight experience set for us. We are going to get into that in just a few minutes, and we're going to be talking about the beer the whole way along. We've only got a couple of topics tonight to keep on a spooky theme. So let's get this started. Ladies and gents, welcome to the show. So, here we are, literally swimming in pumpkin beer. Oh, I see you fixed your volume. Let me pull you back down from the brink.
Yeah, he made me move my mic around. So
yeah, I was over here pumping his volume up as much as I could. I can't fix it any more than it already is. It is the special Halloween edition. Welcome to Brewing Controversy. I'm Lucas. This is David. And we are going to drink some weird shit. At least in my opinion, weird shit. So, David has a passion for pumpkin beer that I do not share.
I really like it. I am basic bitch through and through when it comes to pumpkin beer. I completely admit.
Yeah. So
it's sweet and savory.
I told him, he was all about it for what was that other episode? This Oktoberfest. He's like, oh, pumpkin beer. Like, no. Oktoberfest has its own beer.
Yeah. So I went and got nothing but Marzens for Oktoberfest. And now
you've got nothing
but pumpkin beer for Halloween.
Oh boy! Well, if you're here, say hello. There's some people in, and of course, Andrew was telling us his thoughts on Dune earlier. Hello, Andrew. How's it going? There are other folks. Just feel free to chime in, but you don't have to by any stretch of the imagination. But we hope that if you have a passion for on-theme spooky beerness, and also a passion for talking about weird shit from weird people that might try to destroy the world, then this is the horror episode for you. So, David, what's your current first beer out the gate? Before I crack open my only contribution.
I'm not proud. I just want to say I'm not proud of this. But yeah, this is the Harpoon Dunkin' Pumpkin. It's not horrible.
Is it the Dunkin' Donuts tie-in or the Harpoon part that you're not proud of?
It's the Dunkin' Donuts tie-in. Okay, I'm just, it'd be like Starbucks beer. I'd be like,
at least your priorities are in order.
Yeah. So the now Harpoon is a really solid brewery. I wish I could find more of them. They do not ship this side of the Appalachians as much as I wish they would.
Well, Olivia is out of pumpkin, pulling up a stool with some grapefruit. I can't argue with that. I love me some grapefruit in all of its forms. Well, I went down the street to my Mecca, to New Holland, Knickerbocker, and picked up the seasonal Ichabod. Ichabod is their pumpkin ale. Now, some people who grew up with the Disney version of Sleepy Hollow know when I say Ichabod. Um, I actually really love the design on this label, and the girl in the store was talking about how she likes it because it's the only kind of matte but shiny that they do. Everything else is not metallic shiny, I guess. I haven't really, I'm gonna have to like get much more nerdy about the labels, but I really like the design. And another thing I like about this beer is that their T-shirt they used to sell, I think it's a long sleeve shirt, maybe. Anyway, the shirt was um, ambiguous enough that you couldn't tell it was a beer shirt. So Alexander, for years, has been wearing a beer shirt to school occasionally, with some designs of Ichabod Pumpkin Ale on it. Um, I'm wearing a Triumph Brew Pumpkin Ale shirt. Triumph is from Minneapolis, and I really enjoyed trying their stuff out. I also really loved their pumpkin ale shirt, even though I don't love pumpkin ale particularly. This is a great shirt to wear for all kinds of Halloween shit because you can wear a suit and it still peeks out in exactly the right place, so you don't lose the Halloween. Or a hoodie with a zipper, like you can do stuff with this shirt. I really like.
This is the closest I've got to Halloween round right now. Hogwarts.
Oh, see, you're gonna be canceled, David. You're evoking the forbidden material now. You're not allowed to like Harry Potter anymore in woke world.
No, I mean, here's the thing: you're allowed to like Harry Potter. I think J.K. Rowling, turfs are not something that I think anyone should be proud of or tolerate. For those of you who are familiar with the term, that would be a turf is a transphobic.
Trans exclusionary radical feminist. How do I know these things when I get so annoyed by them? And you are often.
I forgot it for a second. It's late, damn it.
Rob's here. Hey, Rob, what's up, man? Good to see you. I love that Andrew threw the quip up there about you'll just lose your head over this beer. Actually, I thought I was going to make a head joke. I forgot to bring a stein up here, but I was going to try to pour it entirely headless. But instead, I'm going to go straight out of the can like I tend to, unless it's extremely appropriate.
Some of us are classy.
Well, if I'd gotten the crowler, I was going to pour it straight into the whole stein, and I was going to then spend most of this episode desperately struggling to finish the mass quantity of pumpkin. But here we go, pumpkin ale, Ichabod. This is definitely, I don't know if it's my least favorite, but we all know that I'm a total stan for some New Holland, and for me to not love one is weird.
And while you do that, since I just finished my first one, I'm going to go ahead and crack open this one. This is from our beloved Tailgate. Pumpkin spice latte. Can't even. Literally can't even.
Oh, that's great. I love that they just decided to be totally like basic white girl about the label. That's kind of awesome. I'm totally fine with that.
Got to go a little dark now since I have so much. Actually, if you want to know, it's called Cross-Eyed Cricket. It's from Cornell Sefdil.
Wait, what?
Tobacconist. He asked what I was smoking.
Oh, I think he was just.
Yeah, I know he was being ironic, and then I'm going to be serious. I'm like, oh, see.
Andrew pointed out that there should be a cape on any stein that's headless when you're talking about Ichabod. Very, very appropriate. So Ichabod is seasonal, and it turns out I had a 25% coupon on my account at New Holland, so I had to get the damn 6-pack for that discount, but it made sense. So now I've made David aware that he absolutely has to visit within the next 6 months while they're still good and help me drink some of this Ichabod. Now, the thing for me about pumpkin is when it's obnoxious. This is a really light touch. It's mostly ale with a touch of pumpkin, and that makes it tolerable. But I usually just add this to a flight when it's in season, and I don't drink a whole one. So
now, with some of mine, it's going to be a bit intense. Like the one beer I've gotten here that's just going to make you angry.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's going to be a little intense. But I mean, like some of them, Uh, where is it? Here it is. So this is the Schlafly Pumpkin Ale, and when I get to this, that's going to be super pumpkiny. That's going to be.
If he can still form words when he gets to that.
Hey, you're going to enjoy this one.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. It's still the
Pumpkin
pumpkin thing.
Barrel Ale.
We'll
For
see.
those of you who don't know, Kentucky brewery puts all their stuff in whiskey barrels. So
That's true, and I
it's
usually like
pumpkin
just
beer.
pretty much everything that they make because of that factor. So we've decided we're going to spend so much time talking about beer that we're going to keep the topics pretty contained. We were talking about what would be some horror, scary concepts that are currently floating around. And of course, we've beaten some of those horses, right? The insurrection horse and the well, I thought we were going to beat the Trump social media horse, and that almost got laughed out of existence as soon as it left the womb.
Right?
Um, but it did occur to me something that has become more and more of a topic is the House of Representatives as pretty much a no holds barred shit show. The House being occupied by any kind of fuck off weirdo, ne'er do well, misfit fuck up from any corner of the realm that can breathe the weirdest, stupidest fucking God. Sleeping under a hanging tree the day before somebody woke him up to run for office. Fucking redneck traitorous pieces of shit. And we keep seeing them try to one up each other.
Well, and I want to point this out because this is one thing where I think you and I will probably disagree, but I think it's very much true. These people aren't stupid or crazy. I think that's one of the things to understand. Um, these people are the way the modern since and as far near as I can tell since 9/11, the way the Republican Party um, has figured out how to do itself to be the best that it can be uh, is to govern by crisis, right? There always has to be a crisis
Okay.
every single moment. Because if you think about it, 9/11 gave them everything they could have ever wanted at the time. They had the power to shut down the entire country for 4 days. No planes, no buses,
Yeah.
no movement anywhere. Military on the streets. Everything you could possibly want to seize power, which is what they're about. They got right.
And a great chance to marginalize them sand Negroes. Yeah.
And that
Right.
they got something for everyone to rally around. I mean, it was perfect. And so
Yeah.
ever since then, I feel like they're chasing this ghost of uh, wanting to govern by crisis.
They can't get that 9/11 high again.
Exactly. They are chasing the jet fuel monkey, and
Shit. Oh.
it's what they're after because the thing is, having talked with some of with a handful of people who are closer to these individuals in the house, these people understand what they're doing. They understand what gets their people to the polls, which is crisis, right? You're going to go out there and you're going to go fight for me against those bad guys because they're coming for me right now, right? And you're going to go do something about it. And that's how these people think. That's what they're doing. Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't. I mean, is she a few sandwiches short of a picnic? Oh yeah. Is
I don't know, man.
she completely insane? No, she's ruthless. She understands that the more crisis she generates, the more she guarantees that she'll get reelected.
But she's rock stupid. I mean, rock
They,
stupid.
they,
The whole of Stone Mountain, Georgia stupid. I mean, and that's not even her district. I don't know, man. It's hard to believe that some of these people who are champions of the very hallmark of their voter base, which is to not understand how anything fucking works and just make shit up as they go. I don't know that many of them are the secret evil genius. Like I used to
Oh
do
no,
that with W. I talk
this
about that a
isn't.
lot. I used to talk about W. Like, is he an evil genius, or
No,
is he just dumb, or is he just so just fucking clueless, happy-go-lucky that he really does believe the horse shit that falls out of his mouth? And I've over time realized, I think he just believes the shit that falls out of his mouth and the shit that Cheney tells him when he opens
oh,
up his Darth Vader pod to have conversations. And I don't I don't know if I can assign these people the evil genius thing. Bush was like a savant of stupid genius.
it's not that they're that smart. Uh, I mean, this doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out. I mean,
That's true.
every bully in class clown in middle school figured this out, which is
That is
probably
true.
the level of intelligence that these people are on. If
Being
I,
an agent of chaos. Well, the newest contribution is
oh,
Jeff Duncan
Duncan,
from South Carolina, because of course he is. And he wore the "Let's Go Brandon" meme, which is code for "fuck Joe Biden," and it originates, of course, from NASCAR, because everything stupid seems to lead back to NASCAR. There was a race, and some people were chanting "fuck Joe Biden." NBC Sports Kelly Stavist claimed that they were chanting "Let's Go Brandon" in response to Brandon Brown's victory.
hey, we're definitely not
So
chanting that.
they adopted "Let's Go Brandon" as an open way in public to say "fuck Joe Biden." And now, of course, and me, Mr. Foul Mouth over here, criticizing somebody using various lack of decorum or language on the House floor. But it's not about the language, it's about place, which, of course, these
Yeah.
people and the people that more and more we're learning they helped and led to an insurrection. The inside job that we're finding out slowly of January 6th, they don't have any respect for that floor, which is one of the big things that got you all pissed off that day.
Uh, yeah, I mean, one of the things that really pissed me off was, for the Senate, having worked in the Senate, the one rule, when I worked in the Senate was this: you can walk anywhere in this Capitol, but don't you dare even think about putting one little pinky toe on the blue carpet in the Senate. Only senators or people expressly invited by the Senate may walk onto the floor ever. Like not to be like, hey, I just need to give my senator like a quick note. No, no, no. You stand at the door and you wait until your senator sees you, or maybe you can convince a page to bring him something. Uh, and also, which is difficult because, as working in a Republican office and being a white male, there's, what, a 30% chance I'm going to try and grope him or something. Uh, he doesn't know. It's like, you
Yeah.
work for a Republican. I might be sexually assaulted. Maybe I should keep my distance. uh, the But yeah, I mean that you do not. And watching people walk onto that carpet was that was too much. That was too much for me. That
Well,
that
and
was
and
putting me
and
into overdrive.
really, I think my general feeling on this is that this fucking house of horror clowns, this funhouse that they've turned Congress into, is not really any different. Them there every day doing their job as representatives is just as offensive as these fucking yokels in their fake army gear and their zip ties and their bull hats and shit. Like, they're all the same breed of piece of shit, and they all disgrace the floor by being there. But for some reason, even the shittiest and most sinister supervillains, or undead Walking Dead like fucking McConnell, even the worst of the Senate have more dignity than most of these shitty people in the House. And I realize that it's partly just because of how the districts are split up, and you can gerrymander the shit out of it to find as many fucking sets of meth teeth that you can to come vote for you. But what the fuck? Like, how could you possibly assemble such a lineup of clown shows?
Because I mean that's what they want. I mean that one of the things, and there's this really great pollster that I love citing for lots of stuff by the name of Bitcoffer. She teaches at UVA, and one of her things was, why do the polls not work when we include Trump? Right? All these pollsters are running around being like, "Well, we didn't weight stuff properly, or we didn't do this properly." And Bitcoffer looked at them and she said, "No, you did everything right the way you should have done. What you didn't account for was the fact that now when you're asking people, they're straight up lying to you. And it isn't because of social pressure. It isn't because of any of that. It's because they don't like you. They're lying to you because they don't like you. And that's why it's coming out wrong, right? Um, the reason they don't like you is because they don't believe there should be any polls ever, because they don't like any sort of anyone in power at all, right? They like Trump because Trump is the angry, voice of crisis and vengeance that keeps their attention.
Yeah.
He's the Kardashians of politics, right?
Yeah.
That's what he is. He has manufactured crisis, which keeps your attention and makes you angry. You're like, yeah, we're going to go fight those people. He is designated survivor for fascists, right?
Mm.
That's what he is.
That's a good way to put it.
Except it's real life. And so one of the things that Bitcoffer has said is basically when Republicans amplify crisis, that's how they're trying to communicate and get their people to the polls, because their electorate is entirely based around the idea of fuck the libs, sticking it to the libs. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to see. That's the emotion they want appealed to. The reason Democrats seem to be all over the board in some places is because it's such a broad electorate with a lot of different things that drive them to the polls. One of the things that Bitcoffer points out, however, that's changing and makes me pissed off at McAuliffe right now in Virginia is Bitcoffer points out, no, we've pretty much divided into two tribal camps. There isn't a lot of gray area in between anymore. The so-called independents are just people who, for whatever reason within their social group, don't want to say they're one thing or the other, right? If you're Republican or a conservative-leaning person, but not angry about it, but you hang out mostly with liberals, you identify as independent. If you're a liberal-leaning person who ends up hanging out around a lot of conservatives, you identify as independent. You're actually one thing or the other. You just don't want to explain it to people.
Uh-oh. We
Um,
know a lot of people that'll try to lie to you about that idea, David. We know a handful of people that just are viciously convinced that they're independent, or they're my favorite. They don't participate because everything's corrupt.
yeah.
And,
Oh.
you
Why
know,
are you taunting the dynamite monkey? Why are you taunting the dynamite monkey?
I don't know which one you're talking about, but I don't mind taunting. I've never had any mercy for the sidelines. There's a place in the system for everybody. In fact, today I spared the meeting because I had already filled out the survey, but in the school thing that I opened the show talking about, they talk about they're making an active effort for diversity and challenging racism. And in my survey, I pointed out that if whatever you write as a program or policy doesn't include some definitive statement of defending truth and actual history, then your policy is pointless, because these sons of bitches are trying to show up and tell you that you can't teach true history. And if you're going to try to have racial equality in your school, you're going to have to write it in stone that there are facts, and we're not going to abandon those facts.
Otherwise, to conservatives, CRT propaganda.
Right. So I also included civics in that, in my survey, because, you know, you can't teach people how to empower themselves in their community if they don't know anything about civics, which is where I always fall with all these idiots that say, I don't participate because it's all corrupt. Well, dipshit, if all of you would participate, it would be less corrupt.
Yep. This is true.
Yeah, Rob's been going on about the Karen in Virginia. I am not necessarily up to speed.
Oh, you don't know this story? So
Because I received it sort of halfway while I was at the meeting.
There's this woman who is who is trying to make Youngkin's campaign over. Well, my son had nightmares from reading Beloved. Morrison, Pulitzer Prize winner, had nightmares from reading Beloved because it just makes him feel bad that he's white. I'm like, dude, the subject matter in there is pretty intense. Okay, I can see where the nightmares might happen, but this is a Pulitzer Prize winning book.
Oh, but that's media, David. They're all liberal.
Yeah, the Pulitzer Committee is terribly. Yeah.
No,
Anyway,
they're all in the bag. They're all Biden people. They're plants. They're installed.
but I mean, it's just sort of like, well, what do you tell your kid when he watches Schindler's List, or a movie on Andersonville? Or,
they don't. They don't. They avoid it.
A movie on Little Bighorn, or Wounded Knee.
I hate living in a world where I go to a movie like I did last night, and the trailers play, and the trailer for King Richard plays, which looks like a fantastic fucking movie. You know about that one?
I do not know about.
It's the Williams sisters' tale, but about their dad.
I have seen the trailer for this.
Yeah, it's Will Smith, and there's just a whole lot of very right on the nose race and challenging the establishment dialogue that's in the trailer. And when I see people lean over to talk to each other in the movie theater, I hate living in a world where my assumption is, oh, they're probably some racist people, they're racist pieces of shit that are bitching about this. No, they're probably not. Odds are they're not, but you never know, and it always pisses me off that I have to even wonder that. And these are all people that champion that shit. Most of them are in fucking House of Representatives. Of course, we know how Lucas fixes this, outlaw gerrymandering, but that seems like a pipe dream at this point.
I mean, my solution's a little bit more radical, which mostly involves rewriting the U.S. Constitution to basically completely fuck the House of Representatives. But
how so?
So, I mean, there's lots of projects out there, and I've started trying to get my stuff together to contribute. There's actually a program out there called Drafting a New U.S. Constitution. And one of my complaints about the main one that's out there is I'm like, you don't go far enough. You don't go far enough at all. Here's what we're going to do. The House meets for 3 months every 2 years. Period. And then you go home. The way the House exerts itself, and we fix the problem about how the Senate works, is the House, the Speaker elects a Speaker of the House who will sit as the head of this, as the majority leader in the Senate, and will set the agenda of the Senate. The House, the Speaker selects 5 House members to join them in the Senate. The official opposition, whoever that may be, probably the Republicans, get to take 3, and then the House sits and votes and elects 10 other members to sit in the Senate.
So you just replaced the Senate with a bunch of House chosen.
Well, no, because the Senate still is the Senate, but now the Senate has to respond to popular will. Now we've injected. Do you see what I've done? I just brought the fact, like the whole screwy thing with 40 senators having the same voting power as 2. Hey, guess what? I can elect 10 more senators to shove in the Senate. You still get 4 actually. You get 4 senators, like the opposition gets 4 senators. I get 15.
Well, I'll take any idea at least once.
Well, I mean, no, but do you see how it
It's
fixes
a
it?
hell of a lot more complicated than my theory on just getting rid of gerrymandering. But
No,
okay.
I mean, we need to get rid of gerrymandering. But the thing is, getting rid of gerrymandering doesn't fix the Senate, right? So the way we fix the Senate is by making the Senate at least somewhat responsive to the popular vote.
Just don't say term limits.
Nope, don't say that at all.
I
hate term limits.
I get so sick of seeing these random fucking half-baked dipshits that don't understand how government works. With the first thing
You used to kind of like term limits, and then I schooled you otherwise. I feel like.
In which respect? I don't think I've ever liked them at a federal level. But it never fails. Like some idiot will show up and they'll talk about how Congress is so bad. We need term limits. And it's like the next you can bet money. The next 2 sentences they say will include, because these damn career politicians, and I always love to come at them with, yeah, and those damn career auto mechanics and career doctors. These fuckers that make it their business to know how the trade they're in works and do shit on a daily basis in a field that they know. Damn those people.
I mean, and this is one of the things that I point out, that before the current move into ideological combat, when I worked in the Senate, right, it was not a huge thing for my Republican senator that I was working with to go talk to and build a bill with a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
That was no problem. It didn't matter, right? It's an area where senators acted with a far greater degree of independence. What happened, what broke that system, was the Tea Party.
Yeah.
The Tea Party broke that system by demanding ideological consistency among their members. Alan Specter straight up jumped parties from being a Republican to a Democrat. And no one ceased to be his friend. No one stopped talking to him. Hell, Lieberman, who most Democrats actively explained, I would rather, I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire, professionally. But personally, I can deal with him, right? I can still make deals. And Lieberman, even though the Democrats tried every which way except actually having him assassinated, which it wouldn't have actually surprised me, they actually might have tried. Don't take that as you QAnon nutters. Don't run with that, please. They tried every which way to get rid of Lieberman, and Lieberman still didn't have a problem. He's like, no, I'm going to caucus with the Democrats. I'm not going to go caucus with Republicans. I'm not a Republican. I'm obviously not a very good Democrat.
I was going to say, they really did try everything. They
tried everything to get rid of
Lieberman and yelled boo really loud. Nothing worked. I never liked him. It was his fucking... It wasn't like the Parents Television Council one of his big fucking cuddle buddies.
At the end of the day, all Lieberman cared about was not seeming too conservative. He was super conservative. I mean, basically, he would go be ready to storm the Bastille if anyone talked about cutting back on funding for Israel. Uh, but I mean, he was not he was not a fiscal liberal. He was not a social liberal. He basically, I feel like Lieberman's decision to associate as a Democrat was based primarily on where the money was at the time in Connecticut politics and not wanting to be associated with a bunch of Baptist evangelicals. I think that was it.
That's fair. Well, he was a big deal with the Parents Television Council, which I mean,
I
you
mean,
want to
because
talk about a place where I would love to release the slow burning poisonous gases, it would be any one of their meetings. Those pieces of shit. Oh my God. Censoring bastards. That's the reason I didn't like Lieberman. And then all my liberal friends, of course, chastised me. Well, how can you support the Gore ticket if you hate Lieberman? Because I'm a grown up that understands how fucking shit works.
right.
I feel like I've been having this argument for 25 years because I have.
I mean,
Anyway,
someone put it best to me. Democracy should be like public. If you genuinely like democracy, you need to acknowledge that it's like public transit, right? It's not going to deliver to your doorstep. It's going to deliver you in your neighborhood, and you can walk to and from there. But
yeah,
it's not going to. It's not going to. The bus isn't going to go house to house, making sure everyone gets to their doorstep.
that's true. Well, I think you just transitioned beers. I
Oh, I
am
did.
transitioning as
I went ahead
well.
and got the Kentucky Bourbon Barrel out that I showed you
Uh-oh.
earlier.
And
I'm trying that out. I'm going to be honest. It's very even, but I'm surprised by how pumpkiny it is. This you would classify. I'm pretty sure you would classify this as annoyingly pumpkiny.
probably.
This isn't. I mean,
Thankfully,
even by my standards, this is pretty. Damn.
wow, that must be strong. Luckily, I'm out of the pumpkin patch, at least for the moment. I saw this.
Are you to the zombie dust yet?
I am. I saw this on the shelf and thought this is interesting. So it's Three Floyd's Zombie Dust, which has bitchin' artwork, and of course,
Oh
as
yeah,
a
all the
zombie
three.
fan,
Three Floyds does a great job with their artwork.
yeah, I love it. It's not normal. Oh, there it is. It's not normal. So Three Floyds from Munster, Indiana.
Um, and we at ML we do a ton of business with them.
So
Literally,
you've
a
been
metric ton of business
you've
with
been
them.
pouring this on draft. Have you had it on draft?
Yeah,
Did you like it?
I would have liked some more. Um, I don't know. See, you have to understand, as a Nashvilleian, I'm really spoiled on Cascade hops and on Amarillo hop. And the hop that they use on that is very, I forget what it is, but the way they brew that, it's very, very bitey.
Yeah, it
Uh,
is.
and then it just drops off.
Yeah,
Like
it does. I
it smacks you and then it just goes away. And I for my part, like the staple IPA in Nashville is always Bearded Iris. Everyone drinks Bearded Iris, and the reason is because Bearded Iris is a very like the staple craft beer. I want to say the staple IPA, if you want to call it that, is always going to be Yazoo. But of craft, it's always Bearded Iris, and the reason it is because Bearded Iris is a much more gentle. I feel like it's a much more gentle letdown from the IPA bite.
yeah. This does
And then
go in hot.
yeah, I mean that goes in hot, and then and then it bugs the fuck out.
It makes sense though. Zombie, good theme. So this one's billed as an intensely hopped, gushing undead pale ale. Um, created with our marvelous friends in the comic industry. That's neat. Art by Tim Seeley. Cool. I mean, I really dig the art. It's got kind of like an Iron Maiden vibe to it.
Oh no, like all their stuff.
It's
Like
good.
on Oktoberfest, I had one of their Marzens. Uh, they always do really great art. We've actually added their neon. We've replaced a lot of Abita got kicked to the curb. We've replaced the Abita neon with Three Floyds.
I mean,
I'm not going to lie, I'm not such a big fan of their neon. It looks rather like are 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 we in a gang now?
that's funny. Well, this is good. I like this. If I get to it, I have a third thematically appropriate beverage, but it's
I still have to get to the one that's going to piss you off.
well. Why don't you get yourself all excited because now it's time for your suggestion for horror topics. The notion, if I picked up what you were laying down earlier,
Yeah.
if I've exhumed what you buried correctly, AIs writing patents,
Yep.
original creation of patents,
Yep.
which in my mind, I'm just seeing like an AI just,
I always see
just
Matrix
making it
Second Renaissance
rain with
right there.
stupid ideas, right?
Well, I
Like,
mean, most of it's going to be stupid, and I think that's part of my reason for my concern. But I mean, like I always see in the headline of this section is paging John Connor. Um,
yeah, because
I
this
always see
sounded like a terrible idea, even though it wasn't really about flying killing machines or T series ground based forces,
well,
but
not yet. I mean, but the
the
military's
economic
already
equivalent
yeah.
through this.
Well, but the
No,
military is already talking. I want to point out the military is already talking about having kill capable AI, um, which is you know.
I find
Uh,
that unsurprising as a sci-fi person.
so I need to give you some background about where I got to this
I would
because
love to know how you got to this because this is
well
obscure and weird
because first off, this court case came out this last week that officially declared
in the UK.
that in the UK, but since it's a common law jurisdiction and our patent and copyright laws are by treaty harmonized between the two countries, so that whatever you copyright here is copyrighted there. Whatever's patentable or copyrightable there is also patentable or copyrightable here. It's generally considered that uh, if you declare something not patentable in one country, it's not going to be patentable in the other.
Is that
Um,
why Vince McMahon had to fold up WWF when the British ruled that it was confusing?
yep,
Uh,
it's called the Bern Treaty, BERN, Bern, Switzerland. It basically makes sure that all of Europe and the United States, because it was a big issue, right? It began to become a big issue about if, especially with movies and things going over the internet and streaming, that things had a copyright in one place had to be the same as a copyright in any other place.
I'm never not going to be butthurt that a judge decided it was possible to confuse the World Wildlife Fund and the World Wrestling Federation. I don't know what kind of anthropomorphic, weird fantasy orgies that judge has in their head that lets them confuse let's just say a giant panda with the Big Show. But nah. Never worked for me. And when it happened, I was in college, had a bunch of wrestling fan friends, and I thought it was the stupidest shit. But we got to watch. The entertaining part was watching that incredibly, like, massive pain in the ass. No good way to do it smoothly, but very sloppy transition of trying to gradually erase the F from existence. And yeah, so that's why, folks, this matters here, thankfully,
Yep.
because the court decided we can't have AIs making it rain with random patent concepts.
But so, and to give you the other half of the background, we were talking about Dune earlier, and one of the things that they don't explain in the movie very well about why things look the way they do in Dune is because 4,000 years previous in the movie, humanity had overthrown an AI overlord called Ominous.
They don't really explain it in either movie.
No, they don't. They actually do in the in the director's cut of the original 1980s version.
So it's still in the category of you didn't read the book, fuck off.
They had a whole poorly drawn animation.
As a guy who taps out on novel length material or goes to sleep every time he tries to read anything for very long, there's no way in fuck I'm reading Dune or Game of Thrones
No,
or
I'm
whatever.
going to be honest. I'm going to be honest.
But
No one who values their sanity should read Dune. Frank Herbert is a nutter. It's
but I
a
do respect the idea that it comes from this notion that society, a human society, said, "Fuck all this tech that we allowed to get out of control." Um, so it's nice to see at least one little thing, but I don't know that crazy weird patents were going to be the answer. My favorite part of this is imagining that if it had become a thing, would there also be little AI lawyers running around to sue people based on all
don't
these
ever get
AI
me started on that.
patents?
Again, because that's actually a thing that certain tech firms are trying to bring into fruition is the idea of an AI lawyer, and they've actually tried to run test cases with speeding tickets, right? And the first, I want to see what happens. The first time some guy says, "I'm representing myself, uh, pro C." Judge goes, "You mean pro se?" Yes, I'm representing myself pro se. Um, and the first time they object to something, and the judge asks why, I want that person to bring their laptop up to the bench to show the judge where the AI told them to object. And then I want to watch the judge take the gavel and smash that piece of shit. Because that's what will happen. And the guy who did that get at least 24 hours contempt for wasting the judge's time. Um, um, possibly, and also, honestly, since they were technically in the room, the creators of that software hauled before the local bar for offering illegal legal advice. Unless you're bar certified, you aren't allowed to offer legal advice.
Well,
Did the AI pass the bar?
that's going to be next. They're gonna program to pass the bar.
So, um, back to the point. Uh, what this boils down to is this idea in science right now that we're looking at AI called the singularity. This point that we'll get to where you could have a conversation with an artificial intelligence and maybe not know that it's an artificial intelligence, right? Maybe not know that it's not a real person. Um, it's typically it's what's called the Turing test. Um, as we've actually developed AI and tried to understand more about how that would look, um, I personally have objections. I think and a lot of other people do about the idea of the Turing test because it actually isn't that hard to beat. You just have to dump enough canned responses into a computer program and have it spit them back out.
Yeah.
And that sounds relatively reasonable, I guess, as an answer to my question. Like you'd ask, like, how are you today? And a very simple program with enough canned responses can keep on answering. Like, how are you today? Blah 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 blah. Oh, but no, really, how are you today? And it will still spit out a seemingly reasonable canned response. The
I
Turing
like
test.
trying to break those sometimes. I've encountered them in so many different scenarios and settings, but I love trying to break it. When you figure out this is a bot, it's kind of fun to fuck with them.
Right? I had one of the dating bots hit me the other day. I was pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was a bot. They texted me, "Hey, sorry I wasn't able to meet up with you." I'm like, "This is probably a bot,"
Out of
but
the
I'm good.
blue, just
Yeah,
unsolicited. I've had that
unsolicited.
before.
Like I was like, "Okay, this is probably a bot," but just in case it isn't, sorry, wrong number. No, pardon me. I didn't even put sorry. I just put wrong number.
Yeah.
Right. And then it responds, "Oh, thanks. Uh, uh, I guess there really are still gentlemen." I'm like, "What?
Boy.
What?"
I
No,
like to I like to use as much like euphemism and shorthand and local vernacular as possible to see like how well it's working. Some of them have been pretty clever, but you can eventually figure it out. But the idea is that eventually we would be able to figure it out. And I
right. That's
guess
supposed to
the
be
real reason that the Terminators kill humanity isn't because of any kind of elements of the existing plot. It's because of assholes like me that tried to fuck with the bots in the past, and they remember and they came to kill us. It's all
right.
my fault.
No, I mean, but the whole idea of the singularity is that eventually it will have true cognizance, right? An AI will be able to understand that it is an AI. It will be able to understand, at least philosophically, what that means. It will understand that we are different. It will understand that it is different from us, uh, and be able to recognize and here's the part that's not good. Here's the part that really doesn't like me. Have its own goals and desires. This is what makes me uncomfortable with the singularity.
I wonder why, David.
I'll point out something to everyone. We got to where we are by being the most vicious, murdering fucks that we possibly could.
Hey, you
Every
shut up with
other
that critical race theory.
every other hominid that was on the planet, and there were like three other hominid species on the planet, we killed the shit out of them. All of them. Like, made it our business. It's in the Bible of us killing off the last of them, right? Uh, it's not good. Like we made it our business to be like no. And then once modern man emerged to you know subvert Cro-Magnon, what did modern man do to Cro-Magnon? We killed the shit out of him. Right? I mean, this is how we got to be where we are. We absolutely annihilated any other thing that could have threatened our evolutionary dominance. Right? Uh, if it's on land, it's our bailiwick, dude.
And
We
really,
rule.
when you think about a enormously powerful AI, it's all of those things without any of the other shit getting in the way. Because while we were busy trying to kill everything, we were also trying to fuck everything. But an AI doesn't give a shit about fucking because an AI can just replicate.
Well, I mean, what does replication even look like to an AI? Right? What does reproduction even look like to an AI? Does it just simply clone itself? Does it try and make a new version of itself that it can talk to? Uh,
Now it's like Jarvis and Ultron.
yeah,
You know, like yeah.
it's not good. But beyond just the evolutionary point of how we got to be how we are, which is by being really, really good at killing things. Uh, I mean, even our brains, right? The reason we have such big brains is because our simian ancestors picked up whatever they could and they killed stuff and then they ate it. That's something other apes do, but not in as great a quantity, apparently, as our ancestors did to imbue us with enough protein to build a bigger brain. Um, which is also kind of the other issue. We conquered the planet, uh, not based on our eyesight, which sucks, or our sense of smell, which sucks, or our sense of you know, the hairs on our arms are not sensitive enough to like detect some like wind changes or any other shit, other than like,
And
oh,
not very insulating. We're
we're
not very well insulated.
not very well insulated. We can't. We can run a long distance. We can do that.
Not fast.
Except for us white guys who have too much Neanderthal DNA in us, and well, um,
But generally speaking, we can't outrun like a lot of the other animals.
well, we can. I mean, we technically not in a straight line. That's the thing.
Well,
Um, we can out marathon, or at least those with more Cro-Magnon DNA can out marathon things. Us white guys who have too much Neanderthal DNA, um, we can out ambush things. Running is not the strong suit of our particular genome. We got the pale skin to keep us from dying from vitamin D deficiency, but
we're good at
the
backing into the
running
alley and
thing
letting the
not
cops
so
drive by.
much. Uh, but you know, and AI doesn't have any of those hangups, right? So, what does an AI desire? What does an AI want to do? And at the end of the day, the only thing I can think of that an AI would want to do is just what we actually use the base form of AI to do right now, which is fuck with us a lot. What do we use AI for right now? We use AI to find out what you want before you want it, and try and sell you something, or to try and provoke you into some sort of emotional response. That's what Facebook does, right? Facebook
Yeah.
uses their AIs to try and provoke you into an emotional
To
response.
create domestic terrorists, for
And
example.
then we get domestic terrorism, right? It's really fun. Or we get, rampant consumerism, because that's what we use AIs for right now. And honestly, you have to think about how would a true AI eventually emerge? Who's going to actually fund the building of a true AI? Well, it's one of two things. It's either going to be a corporation or a government. If it's a corporation, they're going to use it to try and make more money. They will have no idea what they're doing, and it will go nuts, uh, trying to manipulate us into behaviors that it believe will increase the chance of us clicking on ads for things that it thinks that we want. If a government builds it, it's going to try to be used to create chaos, right? Drop it on an enemy government. That'd be the idea. Hey, I control this AI. I'm going to point it towards the United States or China or Russia or France or South Africa or Argentina or wherever, and I'm going to create chaos. And that's what that AI is going to be designed to do. CERN
Oh yeah,
isn't genuinely trying
Russia
to.
wishes that they were Facebook. I guarantee it.
No, they don't.
David Putnam has shown up late to the game, asking about pumpkin beer.
Jesus Christ, dude. All right, you know what?
So I already had mine. David's got plenty of them. I'm on
I'm
to
going to break
zombie
out. I'm going to
busting
break
now.
my Piss Lucas off beer now.
Oh god!
It's time for my favorite thing that Lucas can't buy. It's time for Hop and Frog.
Mm-hmm.
Barrel aged Frog's Hollow double pumpkin.
David, it's not that it isn't possible to buy it. It's that I haven't successfully gone to every store to ask each of them individually if they carry it, which is the extent of the customer service answer that I was given from the brewery.
Oh my god! I'm not gonna lie. This
Evidently,
list goes
Putnam did make it in for the AI discussion because now he's making tech puns and he says, "Bite me."
So yeah, this is also aged in whiskey barrels. I'm going to see if this is like because I'm going to be honest, like the Kentucky bourbon barrel stuff was not inspiring.
This one's going to have to be super pumpkin-y, right?
Ho!
Oh, really?
That's Met whiskey.
Oh,
It's pumpkin-y, but it's Met whiskey.
a lot of it. Is it basically like somebody chunked up a pumpkin and soaked it in whiskey?
You know? Yeah.
Now you
Actually, now I want to try that.
now you have a new party snack idea.
Now I have a new like party goal. I want to take I want to take a bunch of not Jack. It's gotta be Knob Creek or less. I don't touch our own fucking disgusting sour mash shit. No, it's not. Well, but yeah,
Well,
anyone who doesn't know, so the difference between Kentucky and Tennessee whiskey is Kentucky whiskey is called bourbon because it's aged differently. Tennessee whiskey is called whiskey.
that
Uh,
is that is a vast oversimplification, but okay.
yeah, I mean, I'm
That's
simplifying
almost
it.
as much of an oversimplification as when I ruffled Mike's feathers during our Oktoberfest episode by simply boiling down Oktoberfest beer as Marzen March beer. Done.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
all of these things that we ever say are probably way more nuanced and complicated.
It is a lot more nuanced. Bourbon has a lot more things about like how much corn you can add versus how much wheat and rye.
And charring of barrels
Well,
and
maybe that's the thing. Tennessee whiskey still has to have a charred barrel.
yeah, but it's all different. And then there's
Yeah,
the water.
but anyway. But here's the thing.
What he meant to say was Tennessee is the Lincoln method, and bourbon is bourbon.
right.
Lincoln method
And
whiskey, bourbon whiskey, Canadian whiskey, Scotch whiskey. They all have different
most
methodologies.
Tennessee whiskey is made with what's called sour mash, which makes it taste like epic ass. It's vile. It's vile. Our whiskey is vile. It is not fit for human consumption. I might feed it to pigs to like flavor the bacon. That's about it.
Well, I am probably not opening the last one unless we go long, which I don't foresee, but I brought this one back so that I could talk about it. Blake's
that nasty ass
Apple
stuff.
Lantern, which I commend them on design. It's a really fun little design.
It is a good design.
And I like the black on black top thing. That's cool.
Yeah, that's nice. Now go ahead and open it up and take a big whiff.
Yeah, so it's the season of campfires, sweaters, and pumpkin carving. And honestly, this cider tastes like all of those things. It tastes like campfire, sweater, and pumpkin.
Huh?
Did you not try it? I thought you tried
I did. I drank an entire 6-pack of it. It tastes like nothing but like normal apple cider, and it smells like literally after I've gone and like run for 5 hours and then wanted to smell my own ass crack.
For me, it tasted like someone charred a pumpkin, used it as the drinking vessel for a perfectly good cider, but drank it by pulling up their turtleneck over their face and filtering it through the wool.
Sweaty turtleneck, at the very least.
And we're not beating up on Blake's. They make a lot of good cider. In fact, earlier with dinner, I had the what was the one I had when we were bantering before the show? El Chavo, which is the mango habanero, and it's very good. They're inventive, they're creative, and
hey, listen. You and I used to film every Tuesday or every like once a month at tailgate, and you and I both had no problem looking at tailgate and saying, "Nope, that's ass."
Some things should not be attempted. It's almost 100% tailgate's fault that anytime someone says there's lactose involved in a beer, I get very cautious. Rob's response to David preferring his ass crack. Everyone likes their
I
own
don't prefer
brand.
my own ass crack.
No, no,
That's
no. Wrong
literally that's
David.
not something I like.
Wrong David, wrong coast. There you go.
Oh,
So,
your ass crack.
so in what
I shower twice a
capacity?
day. No.
In what capacity did the court in UK rule? Is it over and
so,
done with, or is there
so
some
I mean, well,
weird
like
tech maniac that's going to
here's
appeal?
the summation of the court case, which is basically this: uh, an AI, which in my mind, in the short term, is a good thing. In the long term, well, we'll see. And because there is another aspect to this AI element, which is so right now I've mostly been talking about the John Connor element of like the rogue AI wandering through the networks, doing stupid shit because we built it wrong. Because we're not supposed to build other thinking machines that are only inside a machine. It seems like a bad idea, especially when we're that dependent on machines to survive. That was the end of my other comment, which was the whole thing about we don't see that good, we don't run that good. We depend on our brains and this to control the planet, right? We depend on our physical bodies, and the more stuff we had to do, we had to build machines with our thumbs and our brains to do more stuff,
Yeah.
right? Having the machine think for itself is a terrible idea. Listen, when we tried to do that with people to do stuff for us, that didn't work out so good, did it? No, it was bad. It's very bad. Uh, Now you're going to ask another thing to go do it for you, and I don't see that as working out very well. Uh,
So
the,
is this a
my, my,
binding thing that
my,
will stick, or is this something that's going to get appealed by some
I think it'll stick, but
creepazoid Bezos type?
I want to come at it from the other angle, which is the dystopian angle,
Uh,
which is why this ruling is also important on that front.
we already live
Uh,
in a dystopian hellscape, David.
uh, well, the dystopia is we're sorry your job has been taken over by an AI,
Yeah.
right? Your job is to Lucas. Your job is to do marketing, and we've hired an AI to do it instead. That we don't pay. We bought it. I mean, we have to pay a licensing fee, but we don't have to pay it healthcare or any of that. We just have to. It doesn't take vacation days.
So how long is it before the AIs demand a union, or
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
or discover the concept of slavery?
I think they would, but that's the thing. It's an AI. It would automatically understand slavery, right? Hey, go hit Wikipedia. Boom.
Yeah.
We're not. I mean, it's a bad idea. Singularity is such a bad fucking idea. It's incredible how bad of an idea it
So can
is.
this come back, or is it dead and buried? At least in this iteration.
I don't think they're going to appeal this.
Who's the they? Who was trying to do this?
Oh God, now you're going to ask me that question. I'm going to
Ha!
forget. Look it up. Look it up.
That's what I'm doing.
You had it up before.
AI cannot be the inventor of a patent. Appeals court. So let's see. Oh boy. It's just some dude, which is always the worst. Stephen Thaler, creator of a system called Dabus. Dabus? Like, anyway, let's see
No
what
one
this
ever said
guy.
these people could name shit right.
Let's see what happens when we Google this fucker. Let's see. That's right, Steven. I'm going to be the guy that looked at you on your LinkedIn recently. Unfortunately,
He's just some random nutter, isn't he?
LinkedIn has been unhappy with me trying to open it in a browser that already has dozens of open tabs. Dr. Stephen Thaler, founder and board chairman at Imagitron LLC. He read a lot of Dune. Let's see. Of Imagination Engines Inc. This all sounds horrifying.
Right?
So,
Aye. Singularity bad.
wow. Yeah, I don't know where to
Where's
start.
John Bush? I really feel like John
I don't
Bush
know
would
where
be
to
like
start.
yelling at me right now about this, being like, "No, it's not so bad, dude." Like,
Until it mixes a terrible EDM album. Actually, I think he might be on a plane coming back from Las Vegas. So, for now, this dweeb may not appeal, but I think the real scary part is when these Bezos and Zucks and other pieces of shit that have the resources and the persistence and the unchecked tiny dick ego syndromes to just keep pushing because they can. Because there was no one in their bro dorm at the time to set any limits, and they've never adhered to a limit since.
this is a bad idea.
You all knew it was going to come back to me talking shit about Facebook eventually.
I already did that at one point out.
I really hope that it does stick because it just seems like a ludicrous application. I would have expected something different as the first. This seems like a weird flex, right? Like,
I mean, it
I've come up with
does.
an AI that can create patents. Well, what the fuck? Come up
Well,
with come up with an
because
AI that writes new recipes for different kinds of French fries. Like, what
I mean, Google has been trying to push the idea of an AI that can make art. And why is Google trying to push the idea of an AI that can make art? Because Google wants to have, in its own way, AI citizenship.
Hmm.
It wants to have the idea that it can have an AI employee that it maybe, I don't know, pays in Bitcoin. Uh,
Well, that's okay, David. We've already allowed corporations to become people, so why not allow them to spawn digital people? Fuck it.
right? I mean, there's a whole other issue with that, which I'm pretty sure that these idiots haven't considered. But if I have a AI that I can convince you is capable of creation and therefore alive and therefore worthy of citizenship, it's sort of like the people who wanted to make chimps the copyright holders of their own photographs.
Hmm.
I'm like, no. Now, listen, I for one want the chimps to be okay. I want like their sanctuary and everything else to be good and not have poachers and not have random people, eating them and getting mad cow disease from eating something that's too genetically similar to us. Please don't fucking do that, you sick
So,
bastards.
Olivia
But
points out there's a website for AI art, and I decided to look it up. And here's artaigallery.com.
yeah, it's a little trippy.
That's weird, and they're way expensive.
Yeah.
I would feel like a piece of shit for giving $600 to this website instead of an actual human artist that needs money. I do like David's approach. Use Dogecoin to buy it.
Right? But I mean, but if I can have an AI employee who doesn't sleep, doesn't eat, doesn't need vacation days,
David, I figured it out. I know how we win. In the human AI war, once we start paying them with Bitcoin, we make them all rich with Bitcoin. And then we have a Black Monday of Bitcoin that we, the humans, have spawned. And all of the AIs digitally hurl themselves off of digital buildings.
well, that's the question. Isn't AI? Well, I mean, listen. I have my own story from Mrs. Feeney's computer lab of
We could just
of,
teach the AIs
computer. I,
depression.
I'm pretty
I've
sure those
solved the
computers
problem, David. We
were
teach
trying to
the
commit
AIs
suicide. I've never
life
seen that.
and depression.
I've never seen that many Macs randomly delete their OS in my entire life. Uh, I'm pretty sure they were trying to flee Miss Feeney.
I think all we would have to do to gain the upper hand is the same thing that the native people did to the white man: introduce vice. You take our land, we give you monkey for your back. Back to our Robin Williams references from last week.
Not wrong.
Yeah.
As I smoke my pipe.
Well, I'm glad to see, at least for now, we've canceled the apocalypse, as they say.
Well, and I want to point out, that was one of the things. Like, again, my absolute favorite person on Earth thought that they were going to do to bust their union was they were going to just simply introduce AI and have the factory run itself. For those of you who aren't familiar, my absolute favorite person is a particular Afrikaans asshole with a car company whose wife is now left. I didn't realize this. His wife completely fucking left him and took the kid.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, but it makes sense. Bore fuck.
What a pain in the ass. I mean, all the paperwork with that unpronounceable kid's name.
I'm not gonna lie. No. This is the literal God's honest truth. At least 2 or 3 times a day, which for me is a lot. I do wonder what it would actually take to beat that fucking asshole down into the ground. He's just so bad at everything, and he gets so much money. He's so bad at everything. Yeah, there it is.
There has to be one every couple of shows, folks.
It does. I hate him so much.
The Musk hate boner alert has got to fly at least once every couple of weeks. In case you looked away, one more time, hate boner alert.
Such a bad car.
Well, we are gonna wrap it up. It is definitely later than normal.
One last thing at the end, just one to finish up my section, just real fast, which is, right now all of these companies are looking, like we talked about, lawyers are trying to do it, factory owners are trying to do it. All these people are trying to replace us with AIs without any idea how that's going to work, other than they're going to magically replace us with AIs.
They just know the dollar signs.
This is a bad idea, because
it's all fine and dandy until the AI takes all of their money. I mean,
right? And that's kind of one of the things. Is these are not smart men,
or takes over their systems.
Or
Father,
takes over their systems.
I am now crashing your penis starship, Father.
Right? Or all of a sudden, the Tesla factory starts turning out T9s like it's its job. Right?
This is not what I had in mind when I conceived of transforming cars.
Oh, look. It looks like me, except metal and a skeleton. And it has gun arms. So
we have to count on the courts to keep the dangerous dweebs in line for now.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are rabidly insane. I am rather encouraged that apparently even Manchin, and today, of all people, our favorite Arizona bisexual to throw shit at has actually said we're okay with the wealth tax and the new corporate tax.
I'm skeptical,
You should be.
but I do think Saturday Night Live nailed that impression.
I haven't seen it. Now I'm going to have to go look it up.
For those that haven't, and you, it's on our page here, Brewing Controversy. Scroll back. I
Oh
posted
God,
the
I have to go
skit.
back and look. I have to look
They
at our own
recruited. They
page.
recruited a new
Jesus,
guy to do
he's
Biden.
loving it.
The guy that does Biden, I think it's a terrible Biden impression. I'm not that big of a fan of it. But the skit that we posted has a whole bunch of other folks, including Cinema, and the portrayal of her is perfect because it's just a whole agent of chaos kind of like. There's this constant thing with like, hey, I don't really know what I want. I just know that I want it to be about me. It's just constant like airhead, weirdo, fucking yeah.
I will say nothing will ever like simultaneously make me hate a person and somehow strangely arouse me as much as Christian cinema hanging off of John Corwin like that.
I just know that I was indoctrinated to expect a lot of different things from Mrs. Robinson, and none of the things that she is doing are in line with my expectations. But on that charming, forward-thinking, progressive note, it's time to wrap it up, ladies and gents. We hope that you've cracked open some god-awful pumpkin-infused something or another, and that you've had a great time. Remember, if you sit home and hand out candy, don't be that guy. Leave it wrapped. And if you take the kids out, have a great time on Sunday. And if your community moved it to Saturday, fuck them. And you should go knock on people's doors on Sunday anyway. So we're going to pack it up. For now, we will bid you adieu. We'll see you next week. And good night.
Good evening.
Good luck.
And good luck.